The Old West was not only a time of exploration and settlement by European pioneers, but also a period deeply rooted in the history of Native American tribes. These indigenous peoples had rich and diverse culinary traditions long before the arrival of Europeans. In this video, we'll explore what Native American tribes were eating in the Old West, shedding light on their traditional diets, cooking methods, and the impact of new ingredients introduced by settlers.
Dakota berry pudding. As a sweet treat, Wapi enjoyed popularity among Sioux communities, with prominence found among the Dakota and Lakota residing in South Dakota. The composition of Wapi involved an amalgamation of choke cherries, root flour, and sugar, harmoniously combined and then brought to a boil, adjusting the consistency as necessary. Wapi was sometimes eaten as a pudding. It also adorned fry bread as a topping. This wasn't confined to a dessert roll. Wapi held a steadfast position within traditional repasts. Furthermore, Wapi was also stored and served on special occasions and revered ceremonial gatherings. The incorporation of choke cherries into Wapi was emblematic of its significance. These same berries held prominence in Wasna and were prized for their medicinal properties. Hopi cornmeal bread. Piki, a delicate cornbread crafted by the Hopi people, bore resemblances to Navajo paper bread. The process of creating Piki involved combining blue or red corn with ash and water. Despite the dough's initial thickness, the outcome was an exquisitely fine and thin Piki. Hopi women would grasp portions of the Piki dough, extending and smoothing it across a hot flat stone. Once cooked, the Piki could be folded, laid flat, or even rolled, making it a versatile accompaniment to various dishes. The art of making Piki was something women acquired over years of practice, and the designated Piki stone resided within a dedicated room or house reserved for making Piki. Apache corn beer. Based on archaeological discoveries, it's evident that around 800 years ago, the Pueblo tribes residing in the American Southwest were partaking in a beer made from corn. However, the term Tiswin is more commonly linked to the Apache community, a distinct group that maintained substantial interactions with the Pueblo factions. According to the recollections of Dateste, an Apache member who accompanied Geronimo during his surrender in 1886, the process of crafting Tiswin was relatively straightforward. You grind corn fine on metate, build a big fire, boil meal 20 minutes, take it out, squeeze mash out good, throw grounds away, put in jar and let ferment with yeast 24 hours. Dateste indicated that without yeast, the fermentation process required a more extended duration. Frequently, weeds and roots were introduced, and the grinding process could be done several times. An alternative type of Tiswin entailed utilizing the mescal plant or other cacti, necessitating days or even weeks of crushing, boiling, and fermentation. Tiswin had a relatively low alcohol content, and from the standpoint of individuals like Victor Randall from the Mescalero Apache, it takes a lot of drinking to get drunk on Tiswin. Cherokee hickory nut soup. The significance of the hickory tree within Native American culture is evident through its application in both culinary and medicinal realms. Hickory nut oil held dual roles, serving as both a cooking ingredient and a medicinal remedy. Beyond this, the hickory nuts underwent various preparations. They could be crushed to produce a drink, or alternatively boiled, strained, and made into hickory milk. Upon the Cherokee people, a notable recipe was kanuchi, recognized as hickory nut soup. During the initial stages of autumn, women engaged in the collection of fallen hickory nuts, allowing them to naturally dry over several weeks. Subsequently, the nut's kernel was extracted, ground, and shaped into balls. These prepared balls were stored until the opportune moment, at which point they were introduced into a vessel of boiling water. Once the mixture underwent straining to eliminate any residual shell fragments, Cherokee women incorporated hominy, and on occasion, sweeteners such as sugar or honey were added to enhance the flavor. We wish, Miwok Acorn Mush. Frequently enjoyed among the Payoquawichum of California, we wish was equally embraced by the Miwok people native to the state's northern region. This nourishing stew was a product of acorns, the nutrient-rich nuts that descended from oak trees. The bountiful diversity of over 10 acorn varieties in Northern California enabled We Wish to meld an array of flavors, providing consumers with vital fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, and protein. The first step to making We Wish commenced with the gathering of acorns each autumn. Once amassed, these acorns were subjected to drying and storage until their need arose. The We Wish production entailed opening the acorns and extracting the kernels from their shells. After the removal of their skin, the acorn kernels underwent grinding to yield flour. The flour was subsequently combined with water, then leached to eliminate bitterness, and then cooked into a mush. Lakota dried meats and fruits. Referred to as Wasna, this term roughly translates to anything mixed together, signifying its dual significance to the Sioux people comprising the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota subgroups. They believed in both nourishment and spirituality. According to legend, Wasna held a pivotal role as the life force of the Sioux, an amalgam of dried meat, fruit, and fat. Due to its high caloric value, Wasna emerged as a prized possession due to its ability to sustain warriors and hunters for prolonged periods. To make Wasna, Native Americans took dried meat, buffalo or venison, and mixed it with dried berries. This amalgamation was subsequently enveloped in melted kidney, fat, or lard, and eaten with a spoon or by hand. In the past, Wasna was also stored within pouches or bladders, but it is now often shaped into patties or squares for easy travel. Chickasaw corn and pork. Pashofa, a medley of pork, corn, and water, was a dish that required numerous hours of preparation. Pashofa was also a soup that needed to be made in large quantities due to its role in uniting the Chickasaw community. To make pashofa, the first step was to pound the corn. Then the corn was soaked in boiling water. Hours upon hours of stirring allowed the corn to soften. As the corn reached the midway point of cooking, portions of pork were introduced to the mixture. It was important to keep the corn from sticking to the pot, necessitating the utilization of specialized paddles for this very purpose. The paddles, crafted from hickory or oak, were cherished heirlooms passed down across generations to stir pots of pashofa. Navajo Fry Bread. In Navajo communities, fried bread emerged as a popular and versatile staple with many uses. This straightforward creation, comprising flour, milk, water, and shortening, entailed crafting an unleavened dough that was subsequently pan-fried. Once both sides were crisped through frying, it was topped with cheese, tomatoes, beans, or vegetables. In a reminiscent manner, Navajo fry bread served in this fashion resembled a taco. Its role extended to being accompanied by a tu, encompassing soups and stews, while also permitting the option of a drizzle of honey for a touch of sweetness. As Native Americans were relocated to substandard reservations, their reliance on rations from the U.S. government escalated. Fry bread emerged as a viable creation, skillfully made from available resources like lard, flour, and other provisions accessible to Native American populations. Navajo kneel-down bread. Navajo's traditional kneel-down bread, also known as stigoi, was named for how it looks after preparation. This bread was crafted from maize, a staple of the Navajo diet. Finely ground corn was encased within corn husks and subsequently either boiled or baked. The tucked or folded extremities of the husks lent the finished product the likenesses of a person kneeling down. Following the cooking process, kneel-down bread exhibited a tender interior, often accompanied by a crisp outer layer. On occasions, this bread was presented to medicine men in payment for services or for a blessing. It is also offered to the elders in the tribe. Although sometimes referred to as Navajo tamale, the universal recognition of this term is not established. Navajo mutton stew. As a general term for stew, soups, and porridge, the term atu was usually included meat from wild animals such as rabbits. These hearty dishes combined an assortment of vegetables like celery, onion, and wild spinach, along with staples like squash, corn, and potatoes. As Native American tribes shifted from hunting to animal husbandry, the spectrum of meats broadened to encompass goat, cow, and sheep meat within atu creations. The preparation of mutton atu entailed searing the meat before introducing it to a pot of boiling water. Following the addition of vegetables, the amalgamation underwent brief cooking, after which seasoning and more water were added. Extended cooking time ensued, and upon serving, the dish commonly accompanied some form of bread or tortilla.
Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.